So this past weekend, I traveled down to Tucson, Arizona with a group of Dimond customers to do a Dimond Epic training camp. And the Dimond Camp is something that's been around for quite a while. It actually started well before there was ever a Dimond. But since the inception of Dimond Bikes, I've gone with a group of guys or Dimond customers down to Tucson, Arizona for a training trip. And Tucson is my second home. It's been my winter home. Being a professional triathlete living in Des Moines, Iowa, I decided that Tucson was where I wanted to spend the winters. It really is the best cycling in the United States, especially in the winter.
It's science.
So I got a group of guys together that are all Dimond customers, and I asked them if they were interested in heading down to Tucson with me. So let's talk about the guys first. So first on the list is Dr. Steve Feltz. Steve is a great friend of mine. He was in my wedding party. He delivered all of my children. He's an OB/GYN here in Des Moines, surgeon. Steve's a great friend. He has a Dimond Brilliant with a super fork. He was on the ride. Next up we have Frank Levy. Frank is a real estate developer in Des Moines. He owns Newberry Real Estate, and he does a lot of apartments right now in town, but he's had his hand in a whole bunch of different projects over the years. Frank owns both a Dimond Brilliant tri-bike and a Dimond Carbide gravel bike, and the Dimond Carbide is what Frank took on this trip.
What do you like the most? What do you like the best about that bike, Frank?
I like the geometry a lot. It's really stable. I like the clean cockpit, no wires. It's very aero.
And you like that you beat your buddy up Mount Lemmon by 2 minutes.
Frank's got some pretty impressive stats. He's a longtime Des Moines kid. He went to Roosevelt High School in Des Moines. He then was on the crew team, the lightweight crew team at Yale, where he graduated. And while he was on, fun fact, while he was on the crew team, Anderson Cooper was actually the coxswain on his crew team.
Let's keep that on hold for later use. Just bring it up every now and then.
Then we have Eric Lambie. Eric is actually my cousin. We grew up. He's 12 and a half months older than I am.
Not that there's anything wrong with that.
Not at all. We lived together in college at the University of Iowa. Has done everything from bike racing to Ironman triathlons. He's currently training for several Ironman races this year, the first of which will be Ironman Lake Placid. We hope that goes on. But Eric's kind of like a best friend / cousin for my entire life, and so we've been really close, and it's awesome to have him out. Eric works as a portfolio manager, a hedge fund manager at Wellington Management out of Boston.
Your cousin from Boston.
Next, we've got two newer Dimond customers. We have Brian effing Manat. I don't really think that's his middle name. That's just what John calls him all the time. So Brian effing Manat is the president of Manats, which is a local asphalt concrete paving company, very large company. Brian is 6'3". He played D3 football out of college here in Iowa. He's got 3 girls that all got into triathlon last year when softball was canceled. I personally coach his youngest daughter, Lucy, on the Little Zippers program. Then we have John Petlin. And John is a high school superstar, total BA football player. And if you see him, he looks like a total BA football player. He transferred to a D3 school in Decorah, Iowa called Luther. That's where he met his wife, Holly, and that's where Holly comes in. Holly actually is the Dimond customer in the family. She's got a beautiful marquee disc brake bike with Hot Lips paint on it. And so John will actually buy a Dimond himself, but he's got to wait until his wife tells him he needs to buy a Dimond, because right now the Dimond is all about Holly, and we can't take any shine away from the Hot Lips bike. As soon as Holly pushes John to say, all right, it's been long enough, you got to get on one of these bikes, then John will pull the trigger. It's really just a matter of, does he buy a mogul or does he get a marquee? So on this trip, he actually rode Brian's old Felt. Brian Manat is actually riding a Dimond Mogul with SRAM Force ETAP 1x build on it. So anyway, those are the players for the trip. We had to hop on before the trip. I made an itinerary of what we were going to do. Excuse me for 1 second. Business calls. So back at this. So we had to make some reservations. We had to jump on this really terrible website for the University of Arizona. Create. Oh, jeez. Calls again. This is TJ. So we had to make reservations before we even left.
I'm sorry, I don't see anything under that name.
Check Rolling Stone Magazine's Axel Foley.
You're allowed to make reservations at the rec center pool 24 hours in advance. So before we even left, we all had to make reservations to swim on Saturday morning at 10 a.m., which is when the pool, 8 a.m., which is when the pool first opens. So we did that before we even left. We were very fortunate. This group of guys, we decided to charter a private jet out of Grinnell, Iowa, and made the stress of the travel a lot easier. So we flew a 9-passenger Lear jet. Check out this baby. Fine Corinthian leather seats. That made it really cool. So we met at my house. I met Steve, was dropped off at my house.
You have any idea how many big white houses there are on this street?
At 1 p.m. And then we drove over to Frank, who lives in an apartment complex very close, an apartment complex that he built. We then drove the Dimond van back to my office, which is also only a couple miles away. Picked up my new bike, which was getting some new brakes, pads, and some kind of final tune-ups before the trip. Packed that up in the van, headed out to Grinnell, and then we started disassembling the bikes so we could pack them in the cargo hole of the Learjet. We got all the bikes packed in, except we couldn't fit John's Felt in there since it didn't have a removable beam. It was quite a bit larger. So John's Felt actually rode in the cabin with us. Since there were only 5 of us in the jet, we had plenty of extra seats. So we got to the FBO in Tucson, and then we unpacked all the cargo, the bikes, assembled them on the tarmac right there. My cousin Eric Lambie was already there. He flew the commercial from Boston. And then we rode our bikes from the FBO at the Tucson airport to my mom's condo. It was about a 12-mile ride, pretty casual. And we left right about 6 p.m. Sunset was 6:30, so it was pretty dark by the time we got back. Just kind of really good timing all around to make it back. So that was kind of the first day. Since it was Friday night, our dinner options were pretty limited. So we went to Taqueria Pico de Gallo in South Tucson, which is a longtime favorite of mine. Had some tacos. I personally had 3 chicken tacos with corn tortillas. Always make sure if you're at Taqueria Pico de Gallo, you go for the corn tortillas.
Do it.
And then they make these Pico de Gallo cups, which are awesome. It's a big fruit cup. It's got coconut, and pineapple, watermelon, and they put chili powder and lime on it. So it's a giant fruit cup with all that. But that kind of kicked off a great weekend of food.